Hello YouTube. I'm back. I'm going to start making videos again. There's been a lot of changes that have happened. We are no longer attending school. We are we're going to go the self-taught route, if you will. I mean, if you're doing online schooling, you don't have any live classes. Most of the places I've looked at and at Grand Canyon, we didn't have any live classes, so you were teaching yourself. They were giving, you got kind of a structure to go by, but $50,000 just to get that structure is kind of ridiculous, and with as many free resources as there are out there, I just didn't see the point of it. So I'm going to show you a few of the resources that I use, or not necessarily free. Some of the resources that I use, some of them are free, some of them are very inexpensive. YouTube is a great option. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Firstly, here we're gonna pull up, obviously GitHub. Everybody needs to have GitHub if you're gonna get into programming. Udemy is a good resource here. There's some of the classes I have, some of the stuff that I'm working with. You can follow through the Udemy tutorials here, different things that you got going on, and you'll learn something, but it is what it is. Another one is purple.com. You get these course bundles. You can get the course bundles. They got a lot: ES6, server admin, Python, SQLite, React, Java. Page will load. Node, Python, Flask, C#, C++, C, cybersecurity. I mean, they just got a plethora of stuff. Mobile development with Java, R, Swift, iOS, Kotlin development for Android, data mining, and front-end fundamentals. That was the first course I took, front-end fundamentals, like 2-3 years ago, something like that. Not very great fundamental course, very basic, but it gets you started. There, if you go to the main page here, they always have sales and stuff like that going on. Like, you literally, and these are to get you started, get you familiar. They teach you the basic syntax, stuff like that. Keep scrolling down here. And I'm not sponsored by these guys at all, so you get all their courses right there, $13. So that's kind of that. Udemy, different times they have different sales going on right now. They have one going on, so you can get like $15 courses, right? So we'll close that out and go to GitHub here. Now, the thing about learning how to program, I'm gonna pull up code here a minute. Nope, I don't want code. Never mind. Close code out. I'm gonna pull up Eclipse. So, when you're learning how to program, or when you're first looking at getting into this, you can get into a bad habit of like jumping languages as you learn about different things, and that's really not what you want to do. You kind of want to pick with one and kind of stick with it here. I'm gonna minimize that for now. Like, and depending on what you want to do with it, is kind of gonna dictate where you start. Like, if you want to do web development, whether it be just front end or full stack, you probably should start off learning JavaScript. Now, this is my opinion. Once you learn JavaScript, and the syntax is important to learn, but more so the concepts, data structures, algorithms, conditionals, flow control, things of that nature. Once you get a good grasp and a handle on that, learning HTML and CSS HTML is a lot easier to learn. It's a markup language. It's not really a programming language. It's pretty easy. It's just syntax heavy, right? Everything is tags. You know. CSS, you're not going to memorize CSS or SAS or less, whatever it may be. You want to get a good understanding of the basics with CSS and all that. And then documentation is huge. Learning how to look stuff up. Frameworks for front end, you know, I guess React is really what's hot right now. That's one of the things that I have on my horizon to learn. Even though I'm not trying to learn front end per se. I mean, I want to know how to do it so I can do some things, but I want to learn React. Node.js backside services framework for that is good, but and Node.js is JavaScript. If you're going to get that right, you're going to want to learn Node.js. You're going to want to learn databases. You're going to want to learn like jQuery and JSON. Them are things that'll help you. Now, if you want to go for like software development, like me personally, I like Java. That's where I'm at. I'm in the process. Like I can do Java fairly well. I'm working on a project right now for just me and my son to work on, but I'm in the process of learning JavaFX and Spring Boot. Java is more of a back-end language. Handles logic pretty well, and actually why I brought up Eclipse, one of the projects that we are working on right now. So this is a game that it's just going to be a terminal game. I've not been working on it very long here. It's pretty simplistic. Let's run something here. Yep. Boop, boop, boop. Hey, there we go. So, welcome to Shadowrun. What is your name? We'll say Troll. What type of character do you want to play as? We'll go Troll. He's going to be a tracker. That's where I'm at right now. Not very complex at this point, but it's going to be kind of like a role-playing game. Yeah, simple stuff like that, right? I'm getting into some of this, and I know I'm kind of off on a tangent here, but I mean, I like Java. I like the structure of it. I like working with it. It's fairly simplistic. I mean, but it's learning, you know. And I haven't got into the actual gameplay development right now. I'm doing where the lobby of the game where you can log in and create your player profile. So you know, for loops is what I'm using here. Simple stuff, but I mean, it's learning that aspect of it that is really, really important. Whatever language you decide to start out with or go with, whether it be Python, JavaScript, Java, C, C++, C#, insert language there, you know. It's all about, you know, your logic statements, your if statements, your conditionals like that, switch statements, for loops, while loops, do while loops, arrays, array lists. Now each language might call them something a little bit different, hash maps, you know, what have you. But it's learning those basics and understanding those that are just critically important. That's really where you want to start with doing that stuff. Now, like I said, there are so many different resources out there. I like Udemy. I do like Purple. They give you very good understanding of the basics, but they're just basics. From there, if you're going to follow along with tutorials and stuff like that, which those I consider tutorials, make them your own. Learn the concepts and then go off and do something that interests you with it. As I work through, you know, dealing with Spring Boot and JavaFX, there's a couple projects on my horizon that I want to do, which is going to be like a quadratic calculator that is, you put in the numbers from the quadratic, and it's going to give you where you cross your two x-axis, and then it's also going to graph it. that's a project that I have on the horizon. Another one I want to do is kind of a fuel tracker. Fuel prices are expensive right now, right? So I kind of want to be able to track, where I'm getting fuel at, how, how my car is doing in terms of like against the oil changes and different maintenance issues that go on there, right? So just little things like that. But I mean, as you work towards that, you'll get better and start off with small projects. One here that is, I guess, one of those big things everybody talks about. I'd never heard of it until I started getting into programming, a game called FizzBuzz or whatever. So there's the code for it. It's what, 20 lines with spacing. I mean, it's not a very big program, but it prints out a number from 1 to 100 in increments of 1. If it's divisible by 3 or 5, it prints out FizzBuzz instead of the number. If it's divisible by 3, it prints out Fizz instead of the number, and if it's divisible by 5, it prints out Buzz instead of the number. And then if it's doesn't meet any of those conditions, it just prints out the number. It's simple, but that's the flow and control of the logic of the FizzBuzz game, right? So nothing too major there. But until next time, and I'm going to try to post a little bit more often, because it's been months and months since I posted. Now that I'm not in school, work is kind of work, and still trying to find that first dev job. So until next time, you guys keep your fingers on the keyboard. Alright.